How about a little sports, Pete, to wind things up for the week?
Yeah, we have to hit a little sports. Let's start off with the video here. Now, this is pretty classic. Now, you're looking at this, the mistake on the lake. There it is, the Cleveland Browns. you see the far right of the screen? That's a cameraman. And as we found out later, thank goodness it wasn't the camera. It was the camera off of like an Apple phone or whatever it was. Because but look at this poor.
Look at him.
He's trying to take pictures of the new look, Cleveland Browns, and he falls into the water. Oh, that poor son of a gun. By the way, one of the former coaches of the Browns, John, Bill Belichick, and I thought it would be kind of fun. The guy never coached college, always in professional football, never coached in college until now. And so now, his first hire, as we've talked about, was his general manager, which I think was brilliant on his part. But some of the things that are, everybody who knows and follows him knows that he's won 6 Super Bowls as a coach. He's got an unbelievable resume at the NFL level, but he doesn't have a resume at the college level. So here's what he's already done, John, and I find this really, really interesting. They have 70 players are on the roster that were not on the roster last year. So that gives you an interesting sort of a look at what he's done and how quickly he has changed. He's grabbed 40 different players off the portal, and 30 of the traditional recruits got their scholarships as well. So being pretty active out there and taking advantage of what he can and using his NFL experience to be able to go to college. Because you know what, John, you and I have talked about this. College football has really become the NFL. You got general managers now. You've got NIL money, which is what your payment system is for these guys. And obviously now, with all the money that is flowing in back to these schools, $20.5 million, I think, each to the big schools are getting that back because of the past. So interesting to see how he's approaching this, John. So my question to you is, in 1 year, can this guy actually turn this thing around? Can he actually maybe win the ACC? I mean, it's not that crazy, I don't think. But what do you think?
Until I see the players play, neither of us will know, of course, Pete, until then. But if I looked at it as an observer of what he's done, he's also one of the guys that, of course, NFL draft day, he's looking at the player and deciding, yeah, this is the kind of player I want. I can turn this guy into an edge rusher. He was an outside linebacker, which is somewhat similar, but I can have him standing up. I could have him in a 3-point stance. I can have him looping around, all this kind of stuff like he did with Vrabel, for instance, Pete, who is kind of all of that I just described. I think that this is something that I wouldn't bet against him. Mm-hmm. As a judge of talent, he was a pretty damn good one. Yeah. Even if it meant grabbing a guy who wasn't the number 2 center, number 3 center, or top 10 center in the league, but it was a guy that fit the sort of program he wanted to put on the field. And so, you've got a Teddy Bruschi at linebacker, obviously an All-American, a great linebacker, but became perennial All-Pro in the system that Belichick created there. So I'd say if he handpicked these 70 players you just described, I think those players will make a difference. Is it enough for them to be able to leapfrog other teams in the ACC? Time will tell.
Time will tell. It's interesting also, John, they have all season and single game football tickets sold out at North Carolina. Sold out. I mean, they really got the right guy when a time where you want more money coming into the system and everything else. I think that they did the right thing. And when you talked about those players that you were talking about in analysis, obviously the general manager has a lot to do with that as well. That's who he hired as his first hire. So Bill's not he might be older, but he ain't stupid yet. That's for sure. I think he's doing all the things the right way to be able to build up that program. And my buddy Bobby Diaco, I'm proud of him that he's on the defensive side of the ball, and I can't wait to go to a game there this year, John. You might have to join me if you want to, because I think it'd be a lot of fun. We might be strolling the sideline with Belichick.
That'd be good. I'd do that.
That could be fun. All right, so we talk about football and finance all the time because a lot of the other sports, at certain times of year, it's just not there. So I'm going to go back to college football, and I'm going to go to the financial side of it, John. What if I told you, with all this money that's sloshing around right now in the NCAA, giving the money and all the rest of it, the NIL raise, all those different things, how about this? Forget the players just for a second. You've got to be able to pay the coaching staff as well, right? I mean, those guys are getting money. You got most of your coaches these days make anywhere between, call it head coaches, $4 million up to, let's say, 10.5, maybe even 11 million bucks, something like that. I think I'm pretty close with those numbers. But how about this? I wanted to just show you something and hear what you have to say. Here's the top assistants in terms of pay that are in sport. Now, some of them are going to be obvious. It's all the same names because it's all the same money. But LSU defensive coordinator, $2.5 million. Michigan defensive coordinator, $2.3 million. Ohio State, $2.2 million. Georgia, $2.2 million. Clemson offensive coordinator, $2 million. Clemson, Washington, Ohio State, and Utah, all $2 million a year for the offensive coordinator. Ole Miss defensive coordinator, $21 million. Utah OC, $2 million. Florida State DC, $2 million. Chip Kelly is the guy at Ohio State. These are pretty gaudy numbers, John. I mean, one of the reasons when I came and started working with you back in 1992, I got offered a couple of jobs. I got a linebacker job with the New Orleans Saints was offered to me. I got offered a few other different things over time. I got an offer to be a head coach and player in arena football, which I did not do. But part of the reason I didn't do it, John, was they didn't get paid back then. Those guys were making, 50, 100 grand, just like the players, that kind of money. But the money that they're making now is pretty close to the players, at least at this high level. It's not just the head coaches, it's assistant coaches. Is it just amazing to you the way it is to me how much money has really just kind of sloshed into what's going on in college and the NFL for that matter?
It's about time that the players started getting a little something better than we're getting.
Well, John, it's great. I know that you have issues going on with the with some of the connectivity, but that's okay. We will be back. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day of the week except Fridays at 1 p.m. So we will see you next week on Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time.